went down to the city of Samaria, verse 5, and he preached Christ unto them. And the people with one accord gave heed unto those things which Philip spake, hearing and seeing the miracles which he did. Verse 7 talks about the unclean spirits. Yesterday while we were out there was a man that came by the car. I think he looked like the demoniac of Gadara.
Yes. Yeah.
If you'd seen him. I told my wife, I said, this is what we're going to have to deal with next week. So we need every believer to be there from the very first night of the crusade, because we are coming up against some spiritual wickedness in high places. How many of you understand what I'm saying? The Bible tells us to be prepared, but the Apostle Paul tells us that to be ready, because we are not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against what? Principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. And so he tells us in Ephesians chapter 6, put on the whole armor of God. Christians, when you show up on Sunday night, I want you to have your armor on.
Amen.
You know what the armor is? If you don't know what it is, go to Ephesians chapter 6 and you'll find out what the Christian armor is. He says, put on the helmet of salvation. Put on the breastplate of righteousness. Have your loins girt about with truth. Make sure you have the sword of the Spirit and the shield of faith. And have your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel. We want every Christian believer to be there in the crusade, and we want you to have your armor on, because we're going out for spiritual warfare.
Amen.
Did you hear me?
Amen.
I said when we go to Brasso, we're going out there for spiritual warfare, and we are not wrestling against flesh and blood, but we're wrestling against a real devil.
That's right.
Did you hear me?
Amen.
Let me go back to Acts chapter 8. Verse 8 says, and there was great joy in the city. The city of Samaria was experiencing joy. What did that joy come from? When they found Jesus, they found the joy of the Lord.
Amen.
How many of you know Jesus fills your life with joy?
Hallelujah.
And the joy of the Lord is your strength. So there was great joy in that city. But now jump down to verse 9. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery. What did he use? Sorcery. And he bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that he himself was a great one. Now, you don't call them sorcerers anymore. I think here in Trinidad the terminology is the obeah man.
Yes.
Did you ever hear that?
Yeah.
A sorcerer is an obeah man. What does an obeah man do? He tries to tell people that he is some great thing, just like Simon, the obeah man here.
That's right.
I remember where I grew up in the village of Bonaventure. There was a man right on the junction there. People would come from all over Trinidad to see their business by this man. He couldn't see his own business, but he was seeing people's business from all over Trinidad. They would come in their carloads, and they would come, and he would bring them into his little kutia, and he would explain to them what they needed to do. And he would give them a bath, and he would collect some herbs or leaves, and he would tell them, go boil this and give yourself a bath. And he would put spells on people. And he would look in people's business. And if you couldn't find a husband or a wife, he could help you. How many of you know what I'm talking about?
Amen.
This is the job of the obeah man. the sorcerer. What was his name?
Simon.
Let's go back to verse 9. A certain man named Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery, and he bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that he himself was some great one. You know, a lot of people believe in this kind of stuff. You know how many people believe in the Obeah man? He was giving out that he was some great man. Now let's go down to verse 10. To whom they all gave heed, from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of God. They called the power of the Obeah man the power of God. You see how easy it is to misplace God's power?
That's right.
They were giving credit to the Obeah man and saying he was the power of God. Next verse. Verse 11. And to him they had regard, because that of a long time he had bewitched them with sorceries.